Alright, so let's look at the Aegis Avenger Titan, which for many of you might be your starting ship. It's one of the more reasonably priced starting ships that can accomplish almost all of the early quests in the game. It's got cargo space, space for boxes, it's easy to get in and out of, and it has a bed, which some people think is the draw of the Aurora package. And it's a much more accomplished fighter than either the Mustang or the Aurora. Much more. It actually has higher DPS than the Hornet, the Anvil Hornet, and more shields than most of the other light fighters its size, running at 14k. One of the big complaints from it, though, is that you can't handle a lot of Gs, meaning you have to pilot gingerly and use your left shift boosters to get your nose back in line with the inertia. And it has less missiles than a lot of other fighters, although this isn't even billed as a fighter. It's a courier ship, technically. It's fast, attractive. It's one of my favorite starter ships. All right, so we got 1,000 DPS with our combination of laser and ballistic weapons. I'm always a fan of having lasers on the weapon, on the guns. My missiles don't want to lock on. But this thing has 4 of them. Not particularly large missiles, but all missiles are good missiles. I like the colors of the HUD more than some of the other ships. Definitely more than Misk. This is more like a white, and that's more like a pale blue. I feel like this is crisper. AI aren't particularly good at fighting, which doesn't necessarily make this hard, but it's more about how long it takes to kill them. As long as you stay within the blue speeds on the left and not go into the red speeds, you can pretty much strafe forever without worrying about the Gs that people used to complain about. But if you're going too fast and trying to turn in this ship, it is pretty miserable. It's noticeably worse than a lot of other ships. Oh. The asteroids are flickering. Are they supposed to do that? All right. So not too painful. 2 minutes of fighting. But all in all, considering that this is billed as a courier ship and it has shields that sit at 14k, which is even better than the Hawk, which is my favorite fighter, and weapons that actually sit above the base Hornet F7C, that's pretty damn good. The Avenger series has 3 other variants besides the Titan: the Stalker, the Renegade, and the Warlock. The Avenger Stalker here has roughly 1/3 the shields, a marginal less amount of DPS than the Avenger Titan that we just looked at, and it cannot hold cargo the way the Titan can. However, it does have one prominent feature, which are these holding cells. The holding cells will allow you to collect bounties without killing them. Now, presently, none of the quests call for you to not kill any of the bounties, but one day that will be true. And that means only ships with holding cells like these, the Anvil Hawk also has one on its backside, will let you complete those quests. The Avenger Titan Renegade is the most similar to just the Avenger Titan, with just a slight change in DPS, a slight change in thruster capabilities. This one has a blue and yellow coat of paint. They don't all come like that. I like it, but the white is also pretty damn sleek. It's hard to say what this variant exists for because it is so similar. The shields are identical, the thrusters are identical, that kind of thing. Maybe it just exists so you have another thing to look at. If you can find another difference that actually matters and not just the moving around of some commas, you let me know. The Avenger Warlock is by far and away the most exciting variant of this series. It features a giant EMP system in the back here, which not only looks cool, is incredibly effective in combat. It means you can't hold any cargo or prisoners, but you could still do some delivery boxes in the back here if you were bored of taking out enemies with your dope EMP. It also means that you have to enter from the front, which isn't really a downside, but you don't get to walk up the ramp as much. And you know how much we all love walking up ramps. Because of the power draw of the EMP system, the Warlock has much weaker shields than the Avenger Titan base model. Sitting at around 4,000 and a half. It's about 1/3 the amount. Don't forget, to use your EMP, you have to turn it on in your weapons menu. It basically has the same weapons that the other ones have, although you can only control them with your left click because the EMP charges with the right click. You don't have to hold it. You just click it once, and then you'll click it again when you get close. I don't know the range on the EMP, but I do know that the closer you are, the more likely it is you're gonna send them adrift. Oh, that hurt me. Interesting. So sometimes I think the EMP registers as hits on you, which is stressful, but they're still really cool. And when you land a strong enough hit with it, they noticeably are just sent adrift. It's especially good against larger targets because they're easier to hit, but also because they absorb more of the blast wave. Smaller targets absorb a lot less of the blast wave, which means they are less likely to have their system get downed on the first hit. I mean, look at this. Badass.